He died in his sleep from doing this. I beg you, don't do it. It causes heart attacks and strokes. Imagine the profound stillness of falling asleep, a transition you've made countless times, only for it to be your final rest. No lingering discomfort, no forewarning, just an eternal quiet. This scenario, while seemingly improbable, is a stark reality that befalls more individuals than commonly acknowledged. Each year, a staggering number of adults beyond the age of 50 experience devastating heart attacks and strokes while in the embrace of sleep. What amplifies the concern is that, for the majority of these unfortunate souls, the root cause was not an obscure ailment, capricious fate, or an unyielding genetic predisposition alone. Instead, it stemmed from behaviors they engaged in nightly, under the misguided impression that these practices were benign. Over the next few minutes, we will delve into the insidious nighttime habits that subtly transform sleep, a period meant for restoration, into one of the most perilous junctures of the day for your vital cardiovascular and neurological systems. More crucially, I will equip you with actionable strategies that you can implement tonight to significantly mitigate this elevated risk. What you are about to absorb is not hyperbole or an attempt to sow undue fear. It is an exposition of medical truths. My name is Dr. Charles Bennett, and my professional life, spanning several decades, has been dedicated to the study of cardiovascular health in adults over the age of 50. If this demographic encompasses you, the information I am about to share holds the potential to be life-saving. It is a fundamental truth that many overlook. Nighttime represents the period of greatest vulnerability for your cardiovascular system. The American Heart Association highlights that an alarming proportion, nearly half, of fatal cardiovascular events in older adults transpire between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. This is not a mere statistical anomaly. Sleep is designed to initiate a restorative cascade within your body. Physiologically, your blood pressure should naturally decline, your heart rate should decelerate, and your nervous system should shift into a mode of repair and regeneration. Simultaneously, your brain actively engages in the critical process of clearing toxic metabolic byproducts that accumulate throughout the day. However, when specific, often unconscious habits disrupt these vital physiological processes, sleep transforms into a treacherous landscape for your body's essential functions. This presentation will illuminate precisely why heart attacks and strokes so frequently occur during slumber, identify the most hazardous nighttime practices prevalent among those over 50, and introduce a straightforward, protective routine designed to safeguard your heart and brain throughout the night. Every piece of information presented is rigorously supported by authentic medical research, explained in a manner that is both comprehensible and readily applicable. Let us commence our exploration with the inaugural perilous nighttime habit, the practice of consuming late and heavy evening meals. Many individuals fail to perceive this habit as a significant threat, rationalizing it as simply having dinner. Yet, after the age of 50, the timing and composition of your evening sustenance can dictate whether your heart finds solace or endures hours of strenuous labor. When you indulge in a substantial meal late in the evening, particularly after 8 or 9 p.m., a confluence of detrimental physiological events is triggered. Your digestive system experiences an amplified demand for blood flow, necessitating your heart to exert greater force to adequately supply your stomach and intestines. Consequently, your blood pressure, instead of decreasing as it should during this period, actually ascends. Your metabolic rate accelerates when it ought to be decelerating in preparation for sleep. In essence, you are compelling your heart to operate at an elevated capacity precisely when it requires maximum rest. A landmark study, meticulously conducted over several years and involving more than 100,000 adult participants, was published in the esteemed European Heart Journal. The findings were unequivocal and deeply concerning. Individuals who habitually consumed late dinners exhibited a significantly higher incidence of nighttime heart attacks and strokes compared to their counterparts who dined earlier. The underlying mechanisms for this phenomenon are multifaceted. Late night digestion contributes to elevated triglyceride levels in the bloodstream, promotes arterial inflammation, and critically disrupts the natural nocturnal decline in blood pressure. Furthermore, there exists another insidious danger that frequently goes unheeded. The act of retiring to bed with a distended stomach significantly exacerbates acid reflux. Acid reflux is far more than a mere source of discomfort. It can actively stimulate the vagus nerve, potentially precipitating dangerous cardiac rhythm disturbances, particularly in older adults. I recall treating a 68-year-old patient who had adhered to a pattern of late, heavy dinners for decades. Tragically, one night she succumbed to a heart attack while asleep. Her heart had been subjected to chronic, relentless nocturnal stress for years, and on that fateful night, it could no longer sustain the burden. The encouraging news, however, is that rectifying this habit yields immediate and profound benefits. Opting for earlier, lighter evening meals allows your heart to truly recuperate during sleep. Blood pressure stabilizes, and the risk of nocturnal cardiovascular events diminishes dramatically. Now, let us transition to the second perilous nighttime habit, one that a considerable number of individuals tend to underestimate: the omission of prescribed medications or their irregular intake. If you are currently undergoing treatment for conditions such as high blood pressure, elevated cholesterol, or are taking blood-thinning agents, this particular aspect is of paramount importance. Blood pressure adheres to a natural diurnal rhythm, characterized by a predictable drop during sleep in healthy individuals. However, in a substantial portion of adults over 50, this essential nocturnal reduction fails to occur, or, more alarmingly, blood pressure actually escalates during sleep. This condition, known as nocturnal hypertension, is exceptionally dangerous. Extensive research, notably published in The Lancet, has demonstrably shown that the timely and consistent administration of medications can reduce the risk of nighttime heart attacks and strokes by nearly half. Conversely, neglecting to take doses or adhering to an inconsistent medication schedule permits silent, yet potentially catastrophic, blood pressure surges to occur during sleep. These sudden elevations can rupture vulnerable fatty plaques within the arteries, facilitate the formation of blood clots that can travel to the brain or heart, and often manifest without any preceding warning symptoms. I have personally encountered patients who, on multiple nights per week, forgot to take their prescribed medications. One such individual suffered a massive stroke overnight. While he survived, he was left with permanent paralysis. The timing of medication is not a trivial detail. It is, in fact, a matter of life and death. It is imperative that you always engage in a thorough discussion with your physician regarding the optimal timing for your medications and strictly adhere to the prescribed regimen without fail. Moving on, let us address the third deadly nighttime habit. This particular condition is one of the most frequently undiagnosed and undertreated killers among adults over 50: sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is characterized by recurrent episodes of breathing cessation during sleep, with some pauses extending for as long as 10, 20, or even 30 seconds. Each such interruption leads to a significant decline in blood oxygen levels. Every precipitous drop triggers an emergency response within the body. Your heart rate accelerates, your blood pressure surges, and stress hormones are released into your system. This sequence of events can transpire hundreds of times per night, often without the affected individual retaining any conscious memory of these episodes. Comprehensive studies conducted by leading universities reveal that untreated sleep apnea can triple the risk of nocturnal heart attacks and quadruple the risk of strokes. Key warning signs that warrant attention include chronic, loud snoring, waking up with a gasp for air, persistent morning headaches, profound daytime fatigue, and blood pressure that proves resistant to conventional management. I had a patient who initially dismissed her snoring as a mere annoyance. One night, her blood oxygen levels plummeted to such critical lows that her heart rhythm became dangerously unstable. Fortunately, she received timely medical intervention and survived. The subsequent treatment for her sleep apnea profoundly transformed her quality of life. While sleeping on one side can offer some relief, it is by no means a substitute for a proper diagnosis and medical treatment. Now, as formidable as these preceding habits are, the forthcoming one is remarkably pervasive, largely because many older adults consciously adopt it, believing it to be a beneficial practice for sleep. It is precisely this perceived benefit that harbors the most profound danger. Let us now focus on the fourth perilous nighttime habit, a practice that many older adults intentionally embrace under the mistaken impression that it enhances their sleep quality. This habit is going to bed in a state of dehydration. As individuals progress beyond the age of 50, their physiological sensation of thirst tends to diminish. Concurrently, many people deliberately restrict their fluid intake in the evening to circumvent the need to awaken during the night for urination. While this approach may appear practical on the surface, it is, in reality, exceedingly hazardous. During sleep, your body continues to lose vital water through the natural processes of respiration and perspiration. If you commence your sleep cycle already dehydrated, your circulatory system embarks on its nocturnal journey at a significant disadvantage. Internally, the consequences are profound. Dehydration leads to an increase in the viscosity of your blood, making it thicker. This thicker blood flows at a slower pace, and sluggishly moving blood is far more predisposed to forming clots. Now, when you superimpose this on the natural physiology of sleep, the risks escalate. During slumber, your heart rate naturally decreases and your blood pressure drops. If, at this juncture, your blood is already thickened, the circulation of blood to critical organs like the heart and brain can become dangerously impaired. This precise mechanism explains why dehydration substantially elevates the risk of ischemic strokes and nocturnal heart attacks. Research published in the Journal of Cardiovascular Disease has indicated that even moderate levels of dehydration can increase the risk of nighttime cardiovascular events by over 60%. I vividly recall a 70-year-old patient who proudly stated that he abstained from drinking water after his evening meal. One early morning, he experienced a stroke while asleep. Medical imaging revealed a clot obstructing a major cerebral artery, and his blood was found to be unusually concentrated, underscoring the significant role dehydration played in this tragic event. Fortunately, the remedy for this perilous habit is refreshingly straightforward. Consume a glass of water approximately 1 to 2 hours before retiring for the night. Make a concerted effort to empty your bladder fully immediately before getting into bed. It is also advisable to keep a glass of water readily accessible by your bedside, allowing you to take small sips if you awaken feeling thirsty. This seemingly minor adjustment can significantly contribute to maintaining smooth blood flow throughout the night, thereby alleviating undue strain on both your heart and brain. Moving on, we shall now examine the fifth deadly nighttime habit, a factor that virtually no one associates with the occurrence of heart attacks and strokes. The temperature of your sleeping environment, whether your bedroom is excessively hot or unduly cold, exerts a direct and significant influence on your cardiovascular system during sleep. When your bedroom is too warm, your body faces considerable difficulty in efficiently dissipating excess heat. This leads to the dilation of blood vessels, an increase in your heart rate, and substantial fluid loss through perspiration, all of which contribute to heightened cardiovascular stress and elevated blood pressure. Research emanating from Harvard University has demonstrated that sleeping in rooms with temperatures exceeding 24 degrees Celsius, approximately 75 degrees Fahrenheit, significantly escalates the risk of nighttime cardiovascular events. However, extreme cold temperatures present an equally grave danger. Constriction of blood vessels occurs in response to frigid conditions, which in turn increases vascular resistance, compelling your heart to pump against elevated pressure. For older adults, whose arteries may already be less flexible, this can represent the critical precipitating factor for a heart attack or stroke. Epidemiological data from Europe has consistently shown sharp increases in nighttime heart attacks during periods of cold weather, with a disproportionately higher impact observed among older adults. The optimal and safest temperature range for sleep, as recommended by experts, lies between 18 and 24 degrees Celsius, 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Within this temperature band, your heart rate is likely to remain stable, your blood pressure regulation is enhanced, and your sleep quality becomes significantly deeper and more restorative. Therefore, maintaining an appropriate bedroom temperature is not merely a matter of personal comfort, it is a crucial element of cardiovascular protection. Now that we have thoroughly elucidated these 5 potent nighttime hazards, allow me to present you with something far more valuable and empowering, a structured, step-by-step protective nighttime routine that you can implement starting tonight. This is your heart-safe nighttime regimen. Between 6 and 7 p.m., consume a light dinner. Prioritize lean proteins, an abundance of vegetables, and easily digestible carbohydrates. Actively avoid heavy fats, excessively large portions, and high sodium content. At 7 p.m., drink a glass of water. If your physician has prescribed any medications for nighttime administration, take them precisely as instructed. By 8 p.m., engage in calming activities. This could include gentle walking, reading, or listening to soothing music. It is crucial to abstain from activities that induce emotional stress or prolonged exposure to intense screen light. At 9 p.m., prepare your sleep environment. Adjust your room temperature to the optimal range. Place a glass of water within easy reach beside your bed. Dim the lights to signal to your body that it is time to wind down. By 9:30 p.m., complete your final bathroom visit. Ensure your bladder is fully emptied. Brush your teeth and take any final prescribed medications. At 10 p.m., it is time to sleep, and your sleeping position matters. If you experience snoring or suspect you may have sleep apnea, opt for sleeping on your side, ensuring adequate neck support. If you find yourself waking during the night, move with deliberate slowness. Sit up before attempting to stand, and take small sips of water if you feel thirsty. Numerous studies investigating circadian rhythms, blood pressure patterns, and sleep safety have consistently indicated that adhering to this routine can reduce nighttime cardiovascular stress by over 40%. Let us briefly recapitulate the 5 insidious habits that silently pose a threat during sleep. The first is late, heavy evening meals. The second is the omission or inconsistent timing of essential medications. The third is untreated sleep apnea. The fourth is retiring to bed in a dehydrated state. And the fifth is inadequate control of your bedroom temperature. Each of these habits, in isolation, presents a significant risk. However, when they converge, they create a veritable perfect storm of physiological vulnerability. The truth, while potentially sobering, is ultimately empowering. Many instances of nighttime heart attacks and strokes are not predetermined by fate. They are, in fact, entirely preventable. You do not require costly medical interventions or adherence to extreme, unsustainable routines. What you need, above all else, is heightened awareness and unwavering consistency. If you are over the age of 50, the actions you take tonight are of critical importance. Make the commitment to alter these habits commencing this evening, rather than deferring them to some future, uncertain date. Your heart has diligently served you for decades. It is imperative that you protect it, especially during its period of rest and recovery. Before you depart, I implore you to undertake 4 significant actions. Firstly, please subscribe to this channel. Each week, I endeavor to share vital, life-saving health information presented in a clear and accessible manner, specifically for adults over 50. Secondly, show your support by liking this video. Your engagement helps this crucial message reach a wider audience, potentially informing individuals who are currently unaware of their elevated risks. Thirdly, kindly leave a comment below. Your written commitment, such as, "I'm changing this tonight," can serve as a powerful source of inspiration for others to take similar proactive steps. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, share this video with someone you hold dear, a partner, a parent, a close friend. You may never know whose life your action ultimately safeguards. Sleep should be a restorative process that invigorates you, not a perilous event that harms you. Take control of your health and well-being starting tonight. This is Dr. Charles Bennett, and I look forward to seeing you in our next discussion.